Ethan shrugged, setting his bag on a weathered picnic table. You wanted alone time, right? This place is huge, probably just missed M. He peeled off his shirt, stretching his lean frame, and I couldn't help but smile. I stepped closer, kissing him quickly. Take a selfie with me, I said, pulling out my phone. As we posed, a massive elk crashed through the brush, antlers glinting in the sunlight. I yelped, my phone slipping from my hand, tumbling over the platform's edge. A faint crack echoed from the ravine below. Shit, I screamed, frustration boiling over. That stupid elk. My phone's gone, our photos, everything. Ethan put a hand on my shoulder, calm as ever. Hey, it's okay. We'll recover the photos. That phone was ancient anyway. You've been wanting a new one. His diplomacy soothed me, but I was still pissed. We climbed down to search, finding my phone smashed among rocks and branches, its screen a spiderweb of cracks. Ethan scooped it into a plastic bag from his pack. Tomorrow, we'll get you the fanciest phone out there, he said, winking. Even if I have to sell my soul for it, I forced a smile, but the loss stung. Those photos were our life together. We pressed on toward the spring, crossing a creaky wooden bridge over a shallow creek. Every step made the boards groan, my nerves on edge, expecting it to collapse. Safely across, we reached a serene spring nestled against a cliff, its water gurgling over smooth stones. Ethan cupped his hands, drinking deeply. You sure that's safe? I asked, eyeing the water warily. Better than bottled water full of microplastics, he said, splashing his face. Try it. I took a sip, wincing at a sharp metallic tenth. Tastes weird, I muttered, but Ethan was already moving, gesturing toward a hidden overhang. Could be fun, he said with a sly grin. I shook my head, still annoyed about my phone. Not in the mood, Ethan. A flicker of anger crossed his face there and gone, replaced by a nod. Fair enough, he said, but his eyes lingered on the distance, distant and cold. We approached another bridge, this one spanning a steep gorge. It looked ancient, boards warped and splintered. You first, I said, half joking. Ethan crossed confidently, the bridge holding firm. I followed, heart pounding, but halfway across, a deafening crack split the air. The wood gave way, and I plummeted, my hands scrabbling for purchase. My nails clawed into a board, ripping free as I fell. In that split second, I looked up at Ethan. His face wasn't worried, it was twisted into a malicious grin, his eyes gleaming with something inhuman. Darkness swallowed me as I hit the ground below. I woke to a nightmare. A skeletal figure loomed over me, its antlered skull glistening, a long slick tongue lapping at my bleeding fingers. I screamed, thrashing, only to see Ethan's worried face, gently holding my bandaged hand. Thank God you're okay, he said, helping me sit up. My clothes were caked in mud, my jeans torn, my right shoe gone, scrapes stinging my leg. My head throbbed, and a wet patch of blood matted my hair. What happened? I croaked. Ethan hushed me. You fell through the bridge. I'm going for help, no signal down here. I tried to beg him to stay, but he was already climbing the gorge, leaving me alone in the dimming light. Pain pulsed through me, my vision swimming. Hours passed so it felt, and night fell, the forest eerily silent. No wind, no animals, just my ragged breathing and pounding heart. I forced myself to my feet, stumbling through thorns and roots, clawing my way up the gorge to the trail. Ethan was gone, no trace of him. The silence was suffocating, pressing against my eardrums. I staggered back to the spring, gulping the metallic water despite its taste, desperate for strength. In a puddle, my reflection wasn't MIT, was a gaunt, skeletal version, eyes hollow, skin gray. Tears stung as I turned away, pain ripping through my body. Emma, Ethan's voice echoed in the distance. I spun, hope flaring, but what rounded the corner wasn't him. It was an 8-foot monstrosity, legs bent backward, a skeletal torso draped in sagging, shifting flesh, trying to mimic a human. Its bulbous head sprouted jagged antlers, its mouth a mess of jagged teeth clattering as it formed a grotesque smile. YYUHH had MMESSO, WW worried, it stammered in Ethan's voice, charred hands reaching for me. I yanked away, adrenaline surging, and ran, branches slashing my face, tears and panic blurring my vision. I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to escape. I reached the cliff where I'd dropped my phone, collapsing against the picnic table. An old trekking pole leaned there, its handle wrapped in frayed electrical tape. I grabbed it, clutching it like a lifeline. As I turned to flee, Ethan, or whatever he was, pulled himself over the cliff's edge, his face a shifting mass of flesh and ash. Without thinking, I swung the pole, its brass tip smashing into his face, tearing off a chunk of clay-like skin. He fell to his knees, ash rising from his form. His head morphed into a grainy version of Ethan's face, the one I'd loved for years. I love you, it rasped, a voice like an animal mimicking speech. Smoke curled from the wound as his body collapsed into a shapeless mass. Imagine going on a hike with the love of your life, only to wake up and learn you've been missing for a decade, and they never existed. That's what happened to me. One day I was planning a future with my Ethan. The next I was told he was a figment of my mind. a lie hiding something sinister in the woods. Welcome to the Haunted Voice, where we unravel the darkest corners of reality. This is my story, and it'll make you question what's real. Buckle up, this one's going to haunt you. My name's Emma Larson, and I've always been a city girl, more comfortable with neon lights than nature trails. At 23, I was slinging drinks at a grimy dive bar in Portland, Oregon. The kind of place where the jukebox skipped and the regulars smelled like stale beer. That's where I met Ethan, a whirlwind of charm, who could make a Monday closing shift feel like a party. He walked in with a grin that lit up the room, ordered a whiskey neat, and had the whole bar laughing by last call. After my shift, we ended up at a 24-hour diner, sharing greasy fries and bad coffee, talking until dawn. The connection was electric, like something out of a movie. I'd never felt anything like it. Ethan was my anchor in a chaotic world. He was outgoing, always dragging me to karaoke nights or rooftop parties, while I was content curling up with cheesy horror flicks. He teased me for being a homebody but loved my quirks, and I fell for his obsession with the outdoors, even if it took months of coaxing to get me hiking. We'd spend weekends exploring the forests around Portland, him leading the way with that infectious smile, me grumbling but secretly loving it. Those late-night hikes behind the bar where we met became our thing, his favorite way to escape the world. Just us under the stars. A year after we met, I quit the bar, thanks to Ethan's encouragement. With his support, I launched a small graphic design business, turning my passion for art into a career. It wasn't lucrative, but it was mine, and even the worst days beat scrubbing vomit off bar floors. On our 2-year anniversary, at a midnight screening of Night of the Living Dead, Ethan proposed during the zombie dance scene, dropping to one knee with a ring and a goofy grin. Our friends, his endless circle of buddies who'd become mine cheered like weed, won the lottery. We celebrated with cheap champagne and pizza, and I felt like my life was perfect, a job I loved, a tight-knit crew, and the man of my dreams. "Hey Em, I found the perfect spot for a hike and picnic," Ethan said one Sunday, as I folded laundry in the cluttered basement of his cozy craftsman house. We'd moved in together after the proposal, and between our jobs and fixing up the place creaky pipes, peeling paint, we were always on the go. "Can't we just stay in?" I groaned, exhausted. "This house is a project, and I'm dying for a scream marathon." Ethan wrapped his arms around me, kissing my neck, his dark stubble tickling my skin. "Come on, Em, a 3-day weekend, just us, no friends crashing, fresh air, a hidden spring romantic, right?" His mischievous grin made my cheeks flush. "Fine," I sighed, melting into his hug. "But it better be worth it." Truthfully, I craved time alone with him. Our friends were always around, planning engagement parties or offering wedding tips, leaving us little space to breathe. A day in nature sounded perfect. "It's a national forest a couple hours out," Ethan said, tossing supplies into his hiking backpack with that boyish excitement. "Secluded trails, a spring tucked away from the crowds. Sam and Jess mentioned it at trivia night. Remember?" I didn't, but with Ethan's endless social circle, I couldn't keep track of every suggestion. He slung the bag over his shoulder, grabbed my hand, and practically dragged me to my beat-up hatchback. The 2-hour drive to the forest was a blur. I dozed off, lulled by the hum of the engine. Ethan woke me with a nudge as we pulled into a gravel lot. "We're here," he said, his smile wide. Miles of trails, just us, and nature. I blinked, shaking off sleep, and took in the towering pines and misty air. "How'd you find this place again?" I asked, stretching. "Sam and Jess," he said, tapping his temple. "Steel trap memory." I smirked. "More like a rusty mousetrap." We laughed, and he parked, promising we'd stay at a nearby motel that night, so I wouldn't have to drive back, exhausted. We set off, Ethan leading the way in his worn hiking boots, me in an old flannel and jeans I'd worn the night we met. "Is that the outfit?" he teased, his eyes roaming over me. "Thought I'd keep it nostalgic," I shot back, snapping my fingers to break his stare. We chuckled, venturing deeper into the forest. The trails were rugged, lined with mossy rocks and gnarled roots, the air thick with pine and damp earth. Oddly, we didn't see a soul, no hikers, no families, just silence. "Weird," I said, pausing at a rickety lookout platform overlooking a ravine. "It's a holiday weekend, shouldn't there be people?" Imagine getting a call from your best friend, begging for help from inside a cave that's not a cave at all but a living, breathing monster. That's the call I got last night, and it's haunted me ever since. Welcome to the Haunted Voice, where we dive into the darkest corners of reality. This is my story, and it'll make you think twice before answering your phone. Buckle up, this one's going to crawl under your skin. My name's Noah Carter, a junior at a small college in rural Vermont, where the winters are brutal and the forests stretch forever. I was in my dorm room, the kind of place that smells like old pizza and desperation, watching the sunset paint the sky blood red through my window. My roommate Jake was off on one of his adrenaline junkie adventures, cave exploring with his buddies. He'd tried to drag me along, but I'm not big on damp, claustrophobic darkness. I'd rather stay in, wrestling with my Spanish lit homework or doom-scrolling on my laptop. That's what I was doing, procrastinating, as usual when my phone lit up with Jake's name. I grinned, thinking he'd save me from another hour of staring at my textbook. I answered too fast, expecting his usual goofy energy. Instead, his voice was a jagged mess, broken by shaky breaths and the crunch of footsteps echoing weirdly. "Yo, Noah," he said, his tone tight. "You okay?" I asked, sitting up. "Having fun out there?" He let out a forced laugh. "Yeah, it's wild. Look, can you pick me up like in an hour?" I frowned. "Didn't you guys take a bus and hike to the cave?" His breathing hitched. "I'm beat, man, got lost. I don't want to trek 3 miles back to the bus stop. Please." I leaned back, annoyed. "Dude, I'm low on gas. It's a 2-hour drive." He cut me off, voice sharp. "Just come, Noah. I'm cold, tired, and I've been wandering for hours." "What do you mean, wandering? Where's everyone else?" I asked, my gut twisting. Jake took a deep breath, like he was trying not to lose it. "I'm near the other exit. I think the others, I don't know. Sarah said she was turning back ages ago, hasn't answered since. Matt and Zoe were behind me, but then Matt just vanished. We called for him, nothing. Zoe started acting weird, like she knew something. She got all panicky, refused to follow me, and now she's gone too. I think they're screwing with me, pulling some prank." His voice cracked, not convinced by his own words. I felt a pang of pity. Jake's friends loved their twisted pranks, but this sounded different. "All right," I said. "I'm coming. Hang tight." "Thanks, man," he whispered, relief mixed with something else, fear. "Maybe." I hesitated, then asked, "So, how's the cave?" I figured keeping him talking would calm him down. His voice brightened, but it felt forced. "It's unreal, Noah. The entrance is massive, like a cathedral. Slopes down into this narrow passage, walls all slick and shiny, like wet stone, but weird. I touched one spot and it was soft, like it gave under my fingers. Not muddy, just stretchy. Warm, too." I frowned. "Warm, yeah," he said. "Probably just the humidity. Makes you wonder what's in these rocks. You know." He kept going, his words tumbling out. "The floor's soft in places, like walking on a sponge. Sinks a bit when you step, then pops back." I was joking, "It's like a mattress." I laughed, uneasy. "A mattress? Seriously? Don't mock me," he snapped, then softened. "It's just weirdly satisfying. Keeps you alert." The first chamber's huge, ceiling lost in the dark. Walls glint with minerals, streaks of red and brown, like wet clay, but alive. Almost, the way the flashlight hits it, it's like the cave's watching you. My skin prickled. "That's creepy." "Nah," he said, too quickly. "Just cool. There's these shadows, 2 long thin shapes hanging from the ceiling. Roots or stalactites probably. But sometimes, when I blink, they stretch, like they're moving. Just my head playing tricks." I swallowed hard. "Be careful, Jake." "I am," he said, but his voice wavered. "Deeper in, it gets weirder. Passages twist, turn back on themselves. I thought I was heading for the exit, but I'm in a new chamber. Walls shifting when I'm not looking. Normal for caves, right? Erosion, or whatever." "Ah, sure," I lied, my stomach churning. "There's more," he went on, his tone almost feverish. "Veins in the floor, reflective puddles, pockets of warm and cold air. It's intense, makes every step feel alive. You'd dig this, Noah." I didn't think so. His words were excited, but his breathing was ragged, like he was trying to convince himself he wasn't scared. The line crackled with faint gurgles, like water or something else echoing behind him. I hung up, grabbed my keys, and hit the road. The location pin Jake sent was a 2-hour drive through winding Vermont back roads, the kind that feel haunted even in daylight. An hour in, my phone rang again. Jake's voice was higher, panicked. "Noah, this place is changing. I hear water, like a stream below, splashing. The walls, they're curving toward me. The floor lifts when I step, like it's breathing." My grip tightened on the wheel. "I'm almost there, Jake. Just stay calm." His breath hitched. "Okay." I parked at the base of a steep hill, cursing the lack of a proper road. The cave's entrance was supposedly at the top, unreachable by car. I hiked up, battling thorny bushes and loose rocks, my breath puffing in the chilly air. After 20 minutes, I reached a clearing, fog curling around gnarled trees like ghostly fingers. The hill rolled out before me, shadows pooling in dips and rises. The sun was gone, the moon casting a pale glow. I called Jake. "I'm here," I said, panting. "Where's the entrance?" His voice was frantic. "I can't stay still. The walls, they're moving with me. The floor pulses, wet, like it's alive. The air's thick, heavy." "Jake, slow down," I urged, scanning the clearing. "Backtrack to the entrance." He laughed, a sharp, unhinged sound. "I can't, it's following me. The walls, the ceiling, the floor, they're breathing together." I touched a wall. It's not stone, it's warm, slick, like skin, veins, ridges, folds. It's alive. "Noah." "Jake, stop it," I snapped, my voice shaking. "Just go back." He wasn't listening. It's not a cave, it's a body, a huge, living thing. I hear it a heartbeat, slow, wet, massive. It's in the walls, the floor, the air. It knows I'm here. My blood ran cold. The clearing felt too quiet, the trees too still. My eyes darted to the shadows, half expecting something to lunge. "Jake, get out now," I said, my voice barely steady. The line fizzed with wet static, a low gurgle pulsing through it. Then he screamed, "Oh God, I found it." "Holy shit, the exit?" I asked, hope flaring. A string of curses, then silence. When he spoke again, his voice was low, reverent. "I think I found its heart." I froze, my phone trembling in my hand. The tree line around the clearing seemed lower, like the ground was shifting. I looked down, then back up. The trees were moving, rising and falling, almost like breathing. The hill dipped under my feet, soft, elastic, like Jake's mattress floor. My heart pounded as the ground pulsed faintly, matching the gurgle from the phone. "Jake," I shouted, but the line went dead. I spun, searching for the cave's entrance, but the clearing was empty, no opening, no rocks, just fog and trees. The ground rippled again, a slow, wet pulse. I stumbled back, my flashlight catching glints of red and brown in the dirt, like veins. The air grew thick, metallic, warm against my skin. I ran, tripping over roots, the hill sloping unnaturally beneath me. The trees seemed to lean closer, their branches stretching like fingers. I didn't stop until I reached my car, locking the doors, gasping for air. I called the police, babbling about Jake, the cave, the heartbeat. They searched the area but found no cave, no entrance, just an ordinary hill. Jake and his friends Sarah, Matt, Zoe were reported missing. Search teams combed the forest for weeks, finding nothing but Jake's backpack, torn and streaked with a strange, slick residue. The cops said it was probably a prank gone wrong, or they got lost. But I know what I heard. That heartbeat, that gurgling pulse, it wasn't a cave. It was alive, and it took them. Now, I can't sleep. Every time my phone rings, I hear Jake's voice, his panicked whispers about walls that breathe and a heart that beats. I see that clearing in my dreams, the ground pulsing under my feet, the trees stretching toward me. What was that place? Was it really a creature, or am I losing my mind? All I know is Jake's gone, and something out there knows my name. This is The Haunted Voice. Have you ever heard something that broke your reality? Share your creepiest stories in the comments. Smash that like button if this chilled you to the core. And subscribe for more true horror tales that'll keep you awake. Until next time, stay safe if you can. Imagine waking up to find everyone you know, your family, your neighbors, even strangers dead, their blood pooling around them. Now imagine it's all a sick prank, but it's happening again, 20 years later. That's my life, and it's unraveling me. Welcome to The Haunted Voice, where we uncover the darkest corners of reality. This is my story, and it'll make you question who you can trust. Buckle up, this one's going to haunt you. My name's Caleb Morrow, and I'm 30 now, but when I was 10, something happened that broke me. I've told this story to therapists, doctors, anyone who'd listen, but it's like shouting into a void. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside Raleigh, North Carolina, the kind of place where kids rode bikes until dusk and neighbors waved from porches. I was a weird kid, sure, obsessed with comic books and ghost stories, always a little too quiet, but I had a good life. My older sister, Lauren, and I bickered constantly, like siblings do. I had a tight crew of friends on our street, and we'd spend afternoons playing tag or building forts in backyards. My parents were solid, my mom always baking, my dad coaching my little league team. It was picture perfect, until the day it wasn't. My 10th birthday was a big deal. My parents threw a backyard bash, the whole neighborhood showing up with gifts and laughter. I got a shiny new Game Boy Advance, my prized possession, and we stayed up late. Kids chasing fireflies, adults sipping beer around a fire pit. The summer air was warm, electric, with the promise of vacation. I went to bed buzzing, the glow-in-the-dark planets on my ceiling twinkling above me, my new Game Boy clutched in my hands. I fell asleep, happy, dreaming of endless summer days. The next morning, something felt wrong. I woke up late, the sun high, my room stuffy with muggy heat. My mom always got me up by 8 a.m., even on weekends, preaching about starting the day right. But the house was silent, no clatter of dishes, no hum of the TV. I checked my clock, 10:30 a.m. Weird, but I figured it was a birthday treat, letting me sleep in. "Mom," I called, stepping into the hallway. Nothing. My dad was probably at his hardware store job, and Lauren had crashed at her friend's house after the party, her new teenage privilege I envied. I headed to the front door, thinking she was in the garden, her usual Saturday spot, but when I opened it, my world stopped. The mail carrier, Mr. Jenkins, lay sprawled on our walkway, limbs twisted unnaturally, blood pooling beneath him in a thick, red splatter. A package sat nearby, dented and soaked crimson. He wasn't moving, his face turned away, like something had slammed him into the pavement. I froze, my heart hammering, unable to scream or run. I'd never seen a dead body, only glimpses of gore in my parents' late-night horror movies. This was real, and it was wrong. I backed inside, shutting the door, my hands shaking. "Mom?" I called, my voice cracking. The house felt too still, the silence pressing against my eardrums. I stumbled to my parents' room, leaning against the wall to keep from collapsing. Our tabby cat, Muffin, darted past me, her fur brushing my leg. The bedroom door creaked open, deafening in the quiet. A lump lay under the covers, not pillows. The bed was made, pillows neatly stacked. "Mom, you asleep?" I whispered, desperate for her to wake up. But I knew, the air was heavy, empty, like a void had swallowed the world, leaving it hot and dead, like a desert stretching forever. I pulled back the covers, and my body burned with shock, every nerve screaming. Blood drenched the sheets, red as the cherry syrup we made from our backyard tree. Mom's eyes were open, her mouth frozen in a silent scream, like she'd seen something horrific. I gagged, stumbling back, my legs buckling. The eggs in the kitchen mocked me now, a cruel reminder of normalcy. I pinched my arm, praying it was a nightmare, but the pain was sharp, real. My parents had drilled emergency plans into me. Call the neighbors. Their number was on a sticky note by the kitchen phone. I dialed the Wilsons next door, my fingers trembling. After 3 agonizing rings, Mrs. Wilson answered, her voice crackling. "Hello, it's Caleb," I stammered, choking on the words. "Something's wrong." My mom, her tone softened, but it felt off, like a mask. "Oh, honey, come over. We'll sort it out together." I heard a stifled giggle, then hushed whispers, like she was covering the receiver. My stomach twisted, but I had nowhere else to go. I slipped out the back door, avoiding Mr. Jenkins' body, Muffin watching me with unblinking eyes. I knocked on the Wilsons' door. No answer. I knocked again, harder, nothing. Stepping into their flower bed, I peered through the window. Mr. Wilson lay on the couch, his head tilted back, chest split open like a medical diagram, guts and blood spilling out. I gasped, my breath catching. Then I saw Mrs. Wilson on the floor by the phone, her eyes wide, blood pooling around her. A fly crawled across her eyeball, pausing to rub its legs. I sobbed, the reality crashing down. This wasn't a dream. I burst through their unlocked door, tripping and falling face first into the carpet, inches from Mrs. Wilson's body. Her blood smeared my cheek, and I scrambled to wipe it off. Horrified, instinctively, I licked my lips, expecting the coppery temps of blood. But it was too sweet. I froze, trembling, and cautiously touched a red-streaked finger to my tongue. Sweet, like the corn syrup we used baking with Grandma. My mind reeled, memories of sticky, sugary summers clashing with the horror before me. I ran, sprinting across town to my dad's hardware store, my lungs burning, sweat soaking my shirt. The streets were empty, no cars moving, though some sat abandoned, doors ajar, blood streaking their hoods. At the store, the receptionist, Miss Clara, who always slipped me peppermints, slumped over her desk, her hair matted with red. I wiped a finger across it, tasting it sweet syrupy. My brain felt like it was cracking. I shook her, screaming, "Wake up, I know you're not dead." She flopped like a doll, her eyes unblinking. Every cubicle was a slaughterhouse. Bodies slumped over desks, entrails spilling, faces torn off, blood sprayed like a horror movie set. But it was all corn syrup, every drop. I touched a glistening organ, expecting flesh, but it jiggled like plastic. Fake. A giggle echoed behind me, sharp and fleeting. I spun, but the room was empty, the silence mocking me. I found my dad by the water cooler, a paper cup in his hand, blood leaking from his eyes, nose, mouth, like he'd burst inside. His face held a faint smile, like he was fighting not to laugh. "Dad, stop it," I whispered, shaking him. "This isn't funny." He didn't move. I staggered home, walking down the middle of the road, balancing on the yellow lines to keep my mind from unraveling. At home, I crawled into bed, pulling the covers over my head. The glow-in-the-dark planets my only comfort. I don't know how long I lay there, but I drifted into a fitful sleep, praying it would end. I awoke to someone shaking me. I screamed, scrambling back, heart pounding. My mom stood there, alive, smiling in her usual sweater and jeans. "Whoa, buddy, didn't mean to scare you," she said, laughing. I stared, gasping, checking her for blood, wounds. Nothing. She was fine. What day is it?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Sunday, bud," she said, frowning. "You okay? Feeling sick?" The smell of pancakes drifted from the kitchen. I sat at the table with Dad and Lauren, both alive, joking like nothing happened. I wanted to believe it was a fever dream, a hallucination. But outside, on the walkway, I saw it, a faint pink stain, like someone had scrubbed away corn syrup blood. For 20 years, I tried to move on. I asked everyone, Mom, Dad, Lauren, neighbors, about that day. They all claimed it never happened, their faces blank, maybe a flicker of a smile. I went to therapy, moved across the country, built a life. I almost convinced myself it was a kid's imagination gone wild, until yesterday. I walked into my therapist's office in Seattle, expecting the usual soft music and bustling waiting room, but it was silent, empty, no receptionist, no patients, just a heavy quiet. I pushed open Dr. Ellis's door, my heart sinking. She lay on the carpet, blood sprayed across the walls, dripping from the ceiling. I knew it was crazy, but I tasted it sweet, syrupy. I rolled her over, her eyes open, a strange smile on her face. This time I checked her pulse. It was there, steady, alive. She's not dead. They're doing it again. I don't know who they are, my family, my neighbors, the whole damn world. Why me? Do they think this is funny? I'm 30, and I'm breaking. Hearing those giggles in the shadows, seeing that pink stain everywhere I look. Am I crazy? Or is something playing a sick game with my life? This is The Haunted Voice. Have you ever faced a prank that broke your reality? Share your creepiest stories in the comments. Smash that like button if this chilled you to the bone, and subscribe for more true horror tales that'll keep you awake. Until next time, stay safe, if you can. Imagine opening a chain email from your childhood, the kind that scared you silly with threats of ghosts crawling out of toilets. Now imagine it's not a joke and something's in your apartment, waiting for you. That's what happened to me this morning, and I'm still shaking. Welcome to The Haunted Voice, where we dive into the darkest corners of reality. This is my story, and it'll make you rethink every email you've ever ignored. Buckle up, this one's going to haunt you. My name's Riley Parker, and I'm 28, living in a cramped apartment in Chicago, working a soul-sucking desk job at a tech startup. Back in the early 2000s, when I was a scrawny middle schooler, chain emails were all the rage. You know, the ones subject lines screaming, "Forward, this or die," with some poorly written horror story about a vengeful spirit dragging you to hell if you didn't send it to 10 people. I got my first one on MySpace, a post about a girl drowned in a lake who haunt your dreams unless you reposted it. I was 12, terrified, and reposted it faster than you can say die. My friends mocked me for weeks, but no ghosts showed up, so maybe I dodged a bullet. Those emails were dumb, juvenile, but fun, in a weird way. Core memories of pretending the supernatural was real. This morning, I was slumped at my kitchen table, sipping lukewarm coffee and half watching a The Haunted Voice video to kill time before work. My inbox was the usual mess: a coworker's passive-aggressive memo, a gym membership renewal, a save the date for my cousin's wedding. Then, as I was about to shut my laptop, a new email popped up from an address I didn't recognize, a string of random numbers and letters. The subject line was one word: regret. Weird. Probably spam or a phishing scam. My finger hovered over the delete button, but life's been dull. Lately, same job, same routine, same lonely nights. I clicked it, half expecting a virus or a crypto scam. The message was short, raw, like it was written in a hurry. Late one night, a woman was struck by a drunk driver on a deserted road. He didn't call for help. Instead, he dragged her broken body into a storm drain and left her to die. They found her corpse days later, rotting in the mud. When the morgue checked her body bag, weeks later, it was empty, filled only with foul, black sludge. If you don't forward this to 6 people by midnight, she'll visit you tonight, hungry for revenge. This isn't a game, you know what you did. I snorted, nearly choking on my coffee. It was like a time capsule from 2005, but darker, meaner. The "you know what you did" bit gave me pause, like it was personal, but I brushed it off. Chain emails always tried to sound ominous. Attached was a single file, a PNG named She. I figured it'd be some cheesy AI-generated ghost face. A lame jump scare. Curious, I opened it. Just a black square. Nothing. I squinted. Tilted my screen, still nothing. Disappointing, but whatever. I closed my laptop and headed to work, the email fading from my mind as I slogged through meetings and spreadsheets. After work, I dragged myself to a spin class, then collapsed on my couch with takeout and a glass of cheap Merlot. I was texting Mia, a girl I'd matched with on a dating app, struggling to keep the conversation alive. On a whim, I mentioned the email, figuring she'd get a kick out of the nostalgia. She did, laughing in her reply. "Oh my God, those creepy chain posts, send it to me." I forwarded it to her personal email, attachment and all, then headed to the shower. When I checked my phone again, Mia had texted back. "Holy shit, that's messed up." I grinned, typing, "Right. I'm quaking in my boots." But her next message stopped me cold. "Not kidding. Not the story, the image. Turn your phone's brightness all the way up and look again." My stomach twisted. I didn't want to, but her words gnawed at me. I turned off my apartment's lights, cranked my phone's brightness to max, and reopened the attachment. At first, it was still just black, but as my eyes adjusted, I saw it. A faint outline, teeth gleaming in a crescent grin, too wide, too sharp. Above them, 2 eyes, stretched unnaturally, like they were being forced open, glowing with a hateful intensity. My heart lurched, that sick feeling of misplacing your keys, but 1,000 times worse. I flicked the lights back on, my hands shaking. The email was too sloppy to be serious. But that image, it was wrong, like something that shouldn't exist. Mia texted again. I ran it through Photoshop, maxed the exposure. You need to see this. Her follow-up email sat in my inbox, the attachment labeled enhanced_she. I hesitated, my thumb hovering. When I opened it, the humor drained away. The image was still dark, but now I could see her a woman, or something pretending to be one. Her skin was bone white like a mannequin, but no mannequin had eyes like that. Wide and furious, brows knotted in rage, despite the stretched lids. Her mouth was a clenched, toothy smile, lips cracked, nostrils flared like twin voids. It was a face of pure malice, a contradiction of agony and hatred, like it was screaming and laughing at once. My brain screamed fake, but my gut knew better. This wasn't art, wasn't AI, it was wrong. I tried a reverse image search, hoping for a some creepy art forum, anything to ground it. Nothing, no matches. That made it worse. Whoever made this wasn't just good, they were playing with something I didn't understand. I stood in my kitchen, staring at my phone, the Merlot souring in my stomach. Then came a knock at my door. I checked the time, 12:15 a.m., too late for visitors. My heart pounded as I peered through the peephole. A cop stood there, her face stern, hand resting on her holster. I opened the door, and she didn't waste time. Step outside. Now. Her voice was low, urgent, her eyes scanning me like I was a suspect. What's going on? I asked, my voice shaky. Just come out, she said, almost whispering. Do it. My mind raced. Had I'd done something? Was this about a noise complaint from my neighbor, Dylan, the frat bro down the hall who blasted EDM at 2 a.m.? I stepped into the hallway, and she shut my door behind me, leading me to the parking lot. Her name was Officer Torres, and she looked rattled, which scared me more than her tone. You live alone? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, just me. She took a deep breath. I was called for a noise complaint, your neighbor, Dylan. After telling him to turn it down, I was leaving when I glanced at your window. First floor, blinds open, window cracked. The streetlights were enough to see inside. There was a figure by your bedroom door, standing still, like it was waiting. Not a mannequin, not a prop, something wrong. Her hand tightened on her gun, her eyes flicking to my window. I froze. I left my window opener, bad habit in Chicago's summer heat, but the screen was intact. I'd have heard it tear. And I'd been in my bedroom 30 minutes ago to grab a towel for my shower. I hadn't seen anything, or had I just not looked? You sure? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I'm sure, she said. You don't want to go back in there? Not yet. Her tone was dead serious, like she'd seen something she couldn't unsee. I wanted to laugh it off, call it a prank, but my skin crawled. The email, the image, now this. I glanced at my window, too far to see anything, and my legs itched to check for myself. Torres grabbed my arm. Don't. Wait for backup. Her eyes were pleading, and I believed her. Backup arrived 20 minutes later, 2 more cops, radios crackling. They're in my apartment now, sweeping it, while I'm stuck in the lobby, shivering despite the heat. I haven't told them about the email. It sounds insane, right? A chain email causing this? No way it's connected, but I'm not sure anymore. That face, in the image, those eyes there burned into my mind. What if she's real? What if she's in there, waiting, just like Torres said? I keep hearing that line. You know what you did? I didn't do anything, did I? If anything happens, I'll update. For now, I'm just trying not to lose it. This is the haunted voice. Have you ever gotten a message that turned your world upside down? Share your creepiest stories in the comments. Smash that like button if this chilled you to the core, and subscribe for more true horror tales that'll keep you awake. Until next time, stay safe, if you can. Imagine every like, comment, or text you receive twisting your reality, your furniture moving, your reflection smirking when you're not. Now imagine begging the world not to interact with you, because each click could erase you entirely. That's my nightmare, and I'm pleading. Don't like this video. Don't comment, don't share. Welcome to the Haunted Voice, where we uncover the darkest corners of reality. This is my story, and it'll make you question every notification you've ever ignored. Buckle up, this one's going to haunt you. My name's Ethan Caldwell, 28, living in a tiny apartment in Portland, Oregon, scraping by as a freelance coder. I'm always online, debugging apps or scrolling X, which makes what's happening to me a living hell. It started 2 weeks ago, when a coworker texted got it at 9:47 p.m. I checked my phone at 9:48, and when I glanced at my living room, my wall clock was gone. Not fallen, not broken, just vanished, leaving 2 empty screw holes in the drywall. I thought I was losing it, maybe working too many late nights. But a cold dread settled in my gut, whispering that something was wrong. Curiosity got the better of me. I made a throwaway account on X and posted a dumb question. What's your worst tech glitch? Every reply shifted something. A photo frame tilted 45 degrees. My kitchen stool slid to the front door, scraping the floor. My coffee maker duplicated 2 identical machines on my counter, both dripping the same dark roast, both warm. My heart raced. This wasn't a prank. I deleted the post, swearing off experiments, but the damage was done. Then my girlfriend, Lena, started texting. We've been rocky lately. She hates when I don't reply instantly, and I've been dodging her calls to avoid fights. One night, she sent over 100 texts in 2 hours, each one angrier, begging me to answer. I couldn't. I knew each message could trigger something, but her notifications kept piling up, buzzing like a swarm. When I finally muted my phone, my apartment was unrecognizable. The living room rug clung to the ceiling, stretched impossibly thin, pulsing like a living membrane. My couch was flipped, legs jutting upward like claws. The fridge had moved to my bedroom, humming beside my bed. Its cord plugged into an outlet now embedded in my mattress frame, glowing faintly. Worst was the sound doorknobs rattling, over and over, though every door was locked. Every knob still. Lena didn't know what she'd done. I didn't respond. I couldn't risk it. I haven't told her, or my best friend, or my family. I need someone to notice if I disappear, but I can't let their messages spark more changes. I started a notebook, logging every interaction in shift. One comment moves something small, a pen, a lamp. A flood of interactions, like Lena's texts, rips reality apart. Her barrage nearly destroyed my apartment in hours. It's not just objects anymore. Yesterday, after 4 likes on a test post, I saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror. It was me, but wrong, moving a half-second late, grinning with too many teeth while I stood frozen, terrified. Its eyes glowed, not with light, but with intent. The notebook's betraying me too. Last night, I opened it to find my entries rewritten into one line, in my own handwriting, KEEP, posting. I slammed it shut, my pulse pounding. Why do I keep sharing? Maybe I need proof, witnesses, or just to scream into the void. But every interaction fuels the chaos. As I record this, my desk lamp flickers, tilting on its own. Lena's texts keep coming, 60 unread messages, each one a ticking bomb. I won't answer. I can't. The street light outside my 4th floor window buzzes louder, pulsing with my heartbeat, too close for any light to be. The air feels thick, like the apartment's alive, watching me. I know something's coming. The more I post, the worse it gets. I don't know if these changes are permanent or confined to these walls. I don't know if reality itself is unraveling around me. If I vanish tonight, if my reflection takes my place, maybe you'll see this and understand. Don't like this video. Don't comment. Just watch, remember, and heed my warning. Last night I checked my reflection again. It was whispering my name, lips moving while mine stayed still. I'm trying to make this my only post. More online presence is too dangerous. If things spiral and I have to warn the world, I might update. If this stops, I'll let you know. But please, don't interact with this video. It could break the fabric of our reality. This is the haunted voice. Has a notification ever turned your world upside down? Share your creepiest stories in the comments, but please, not on this video. Hit like only if you're ready to risk what I'm facing. Subscribe for more true horror tales that'll keep you awake. Until next time, stay safe, if you can.